vibrate or silence because you are being recorded live. I'm Lakeisha Ross. I'm the creative coordinator of our media group. We've been doing this going on 3 years. Benedict is the owner of La Rouge Lounge. That's Ben bigging up himself. Ben has been doing real estate since the age of 23. He's bought probably near, I want to say over 150 projects in the area where he's building up real estate, doing development, and he's helping the community get to where they need to go. So he makes sure that the community gets involved so that way you don't steal your pipes, right? Make sure we know what's going on too. So when we do this real estate meetup, we do it every Monday for free. So that way you can get what you need, whether it's new to real estate or you just want to get more of the bag to secure your family. So we have a guest speaker that comes from all walks of life to make sure that you understand what comes with real estate and entrepreneurship. Tonight we have Mr. Austin Smith. He's been doing real estate for almost half a decade. He is also a partner with his lovely wife and queen. And he's also a fraternity brother. Please welcome Benedict and Austin Smith.
Sit regular. Come on, stand up. On your feet. I know we're here to talk about money. Y'all not just gonna be sitting down. Celebrity Fix and Flip, what's up? I was about to say I could have stayed home for that. Hey, listen. In the last 2.5 years, we have over $150 million in hard money backing. That's a major financial boost for us, so definitely congratulations. A lot of people in the real estate meetup group have utilized this company. It has worked out great for them. They're homegrown. The group, the Express Capital is a part of this real estate group. So when we go after loans, they look at that and they take that into account because they know that we are well informed. In the last 2 years, as a group, we probably have done, on a low end, we probably have done 20 to 25 deals that are accounted for, that we can account for, let alone everybody else that has done deals within each other. So this is not just a real estate-based information, real estate meetup. This is an action group. So if you're not here to make money, action, network, you're not here to be a professional student. I don't know all the answers, but I'm damn close to it. Why? Because I have everybody right here who got all the answers. I'm not a realtor, I'm not an appraiser, I'm not a home inspector, I'm not a title company, I'm not an attorney, but all of these other things that I mentioned in contractors, these people are in these rooms. So as a team, we always talk about collaborative and cooperative economics. If this is your first real estate meetup, by a show of hands, put it up. All right, well, round of applause. Have a seat. Today, I have a very special guest. You know, this is I'm not part of this fraternity, but we both went to Seton Hall Prep. You know what I mean? I don't know about him, but I definitely didn't want to go to Seton Hall Prep. But let me tell you, it probably was the best decision my mother made for me, just because, you know, I wasn't always Mr. Real Estate on Monday. So definitely, so this brother right here went to Seton Hall Prep with me. You know, I'm definitely happy to have you up here. You know, please give the brother all the attention you can in the room. He's not just any realtor, he's a realtor extraordinaire. And you know, with this real estate business, it's all about your accessibility to deals. I don't give a damn how knowledgeable you are in the business, how many houses you flip. You're only as good as how many deals you can get, right? So this brother right here, he knows how to find deals because he doesn't sleep, and he also has a brand new podcast that's doing very well.
No, absolutely. First things first, you know, thank you for allowing me to grace the platform. Because kind of reverse engineered it. Ben's actually been on the podcast as well. It's the Austin Smith Real Estate Podcast, and it's really taking off in the same way that Ben is bringing the heat straight to you. So that way, like, there's no excuse. I'm doing the same exact thing like on the podcast. So it's amazing because the more that we continue to put that content out there and the more that we kind of put that energy out there is the more that people start to gravitate towards it. And that's where it's trying to do, just build it from within. And then as people take that knowledge and then go into their communities, into their fields to do, they can apply the same knowledge. So it's growing really rapidly. We've had some awesome guests. Again, Ben's been on it. And definitely I'm going to wind up bringing him back on it because I'm going to have a second round. But Austin Smith Real Estate Podcast, it's on iTunes, Google Play, the whole Google. It's everywhere. Just type it into Google, I'll pop right out. I can finally say that now. It feels good to say that. So it's out there for you. So yeah.
So I got some tough questions for you. The first one is, I know a lot of people who take the 75-hour real estate course, which we have a school, Regal Institute. If you guys are interested in taking the 75-hour course in order to become a realtor, please see me at the end of the show. Most people, it's easy for them to take the class, pass the school test, and then take the state test. But that's just allowing you to do real estate. That is not, that doesn't make you successful in the business by any stretch of the imagination. So my question to you is, for new realtors or realtors that, you know, might be hit a slump, what is it that allows you to be successful in this market where they say there's no deals? As soon as you put up a property on an MLS, it's already going.
Excellent question. So yes, inventory is really, really tight, right? But at the same time, like if it was easy, then everybody would do it, right? So what are we going to do differently? Who's going to reach out to somebody? Like, what are we going to do differently? So there's even been times where I'm picking up the phone, the same way that agents like think themselves as competition against each other. It's like, now I'm about to use all of y'all to work for me. So the way that I see it, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to dial straight through the MLS, and I'm going to find every agent that has sold property, has sold multifamily, whatever that I'm looking for. I'm going through the entire list. Hey, do you have anything that's coming to the market? I done built a whole database of agents, connections, and these are just agents. Like, I'm not even talking about investors. I'm not talking about developers. Anybody. I have a whole entire database that I'm tapping into on a daily basis. And my wife will tell you, like, from in the morning, I'm like, do you have any properties that's coming to the market? Do you have anything that's coming to the market? I don't care how many times I hear no, I'm just trying to hit a certain number, because eventually somebody's going to tell me, oh, you know what, by the way, I do have something that's coming. Yeah? Okay, what's the address on that? Oh, looks good. Now, what have I done? I've now taken a buyer in this particular situation and now almost kind of turned myself into a listing agent, because now I'm bringing the product straight to the buyer. Now there's no more multiple office situations. Those things are tough. And especially for people that are coming in with FHA or like a 5% down conventional when they're starting off on a low down payment option, sometimes there's people that's coming in with 20% down. Sometimes there's people that's coming in with straight cash. That's very hard to beat. So for the record, you're gonna have to do something different to get your point across. And not only that, I'll tell you one thing that's most important. Most realtors stop selling after they submit the offer, and they hope that the offer is going to speak for their client. It's like, no, when that property first comes on the market, I don't care. Sometimes you'll see situations where the property comes on the market on Monday and it's not an open house until Sunday, and you can't get in until Saturday or Sunday. So by that time, how many people have seen it on Zillow, Trulia, all the other agents are dropping it in the inbox? No problem, that's so cool, I didn't get that one, no problem. You're gonna hear from me from Monday all the way until that open house. So that way, by the time me and my clients show up at that open house, you know, and you put the face to the voice, and you already know who I am before everybody else has got into it. I don't know if the offer is gonna stick, but at the same time, you're gonna know who me and my client are, and I'm going to sell you on what my client does and how he can close the deal even before like we even get started in the entire offer process. So like, you have to sell the offer, but you have to also sell your client. Why? Because unfortunately, sellers make emotional decisions. Like, we all make emotional decisions, right? We don't know if it's right or not, but if it felt good at the moment, we're gonna go with it. So I need to make sure that that agent and that seller feels good about this offer, my client, myself, my team. Last tidbit, when I go into there, it's just like, listen, I got my attorney ready, we got our mortgage officer ready, and when I submit the offer, here's my attorney information right there. He's on standby waiting for you.
You make it a one-stop shop, so basically
they're ready to go.
You don't give them any opportunity to go ahead and change, their minds. One thing that I learned about the real estate business as a developer is you can't buy, fix, and sell a house every day. It's just what it is. You know, if I buy, and I specialize in buying gutted out properties just because, you know, back then the competition was a whole lot less. And, you know, even though they say that the market is tough, it's not everybody that has an appetite to rehab a fully gutted properties. If anybody follows me online, you know that as of recent, I opened up the street because I have a lead situation. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm telling you right now, it is a city mandate. If you buy an abandoned property that has been sitting for more than, I can't remember, but definitely for 6 months plus, you are responsible to change that lead service line. And they're also passing over the insurance responsibility to the homeowner if there is lead poisoning. So what that means is, if someone tests in the lead in their water and they test their children and they find out their children has lead, et cetera, even if they got it from a previous property, they can then now pass that over to you. So what you need to do is, if you own a property in the city of Newark, there's a department, and I think about 3 weeks ago, I had the assistant director from the Newark Water Department. We're gonna be rolling out that tape soon so you can see everything that she mentioned, because information is key. You thinking that you're buying a property, and you're like, fuck, $14,000 to change the lead service line? So mind you, you might have a property that's under contract, ready to sell, et cetera, et cetera. With that information that's out there, somebody may back away, especially if they don't have the knowledge, because nobody wants to get stuck with that $14,000 bill. You either got to give a concession or you got to do the work. If you don't want to pay that $14,000, Newark has a waiting list. God knows how long the waiting list is. It's over 15,000 properties that this problem needs to be remediated. Exactly. So you as an investor, you're going to make the decision. Do I just pay the $15,000, pass that cost over to my buyer? Do I eat that cost, etc., which goes into, I always talk about, it's not about what you're buying, it's at the price that you're buying it. You have to, I always say, what's my magic number? If you're a realtor, don't bring me a property unless there's 100 grand in it, because the number one rule of real estate is anything that could go wrong will go wrong. Twice. And so what I had to do was, I know a couple people. I got moved up on the list. Connections is everything. That's why it's important. Go to town hall meetings. Know who your city council people are for that ward. Know who your freeholders are. Know who your state senators are. How do you get to them? Because I'm not talking about, you buying a property here and there, you making, I live and breathe real estate. If I don't do real estate, I'm not gonna be able to feed myself, right? So when you buy these properties, understand exactly what it is that you're buying, because you're not just responsible for the structure that's from the dirt, the foundation up, you're responsible for underneath it as well now. So when you're making these decisions, you gotta understand, New Jersey is one of the original 13 colony states. So by just its age, the infrastructure is extremely old. It's nothing to do with the mayor, it's nothing to do with any government, this and that. It's just that this thing is old. And so if you're buying in these old cities, understand the infrastructure is old, so you are responsible for that. So that's a leverage that you have when you want to sell one of these other properties. One of the things that I wanted to ask you is, how do you make your money during a real estate, drought? Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, bills don't stop coming, but you have lead inspections, you have, after a home inspection, they might find a rebar, whatever the reason is, and now it pushes your closing back 45 days. Let's just say, like most Americans, they don't really have a real nest egg. As a realtor, it's really like you're really an independent contractor. So how do you survive? What advice could you give some new realtors or some older realtors as far as being able to?
Excellent question. It's just like money management, like anything in business, like you've now gone from how am I handling every 2 weeks, every month, to now I'm quarterly. So it's about to be the fourth quarter for the year. I've already started on 2020, just off the rip. Because everything, especially in real estate, everything takes time. So for all the new agents out there, I'm gonna tell you right off the rip, day one, your next check is 45 days out. So that means even if you put a deal together, like if you got your license yesterday, signed up with a broker today, you're ready to go today, you're actively licensed today, 45 days from now, you don't have a check if you didn't put together a deal today. Right. So that's just to keep you 45, 60 days in advance. I can't tell you how many times where a deal could look so promising. It's a beautiful renovated property. They did an excellent job on the inside. Perfect price, buyer comes in, swoops it, everything's going well, and for whatever reason, the deal don't close. Not only doesn't close, it falls apart. For whatever strange reason, I don't know, some title work got messed up or something like, all of a sudden there was oh man. We had anybody that's flipping, first things first, aside from the lead issue, pull the oil tank. Like, the oil tank should not be in any rehab property. So I remember one time, we're about a week from closing, we find out there's an oil tank in the property. Luckily, the deal still closed, set the whole closing back a whole nother month. Now, mind you, you're trying to keep it calm, collective, right? Because you got to advise your clients without commission breath. But there's sometimes, especially in the beginning, where you're looking at it like, do you really need the oil tank? But all jokes aside, it's like and especially in the beginning, you're counting on those checks. Let's be real. You're counting on those checks. Those checks pay the bills. Especially when you've gone from a bi-weekly stance to now quarterly. Now you're trying to make sure that your bills are covered for the quarter. So for anybody that's getting into the business, definitely plan quarterly. The drops will happen in the beginning, but it's all about the momentum, because then you get used to it. So now it's called posture, where if you have enough deals that's going on, or if you're just used to it, you're looking up at the scoreboard, you're like, all right, I got 8 people under contract. Looks great on paper. Meaning, you look at that bottom number and you're like, wow, technically, based off of where this is at, I could take off for the rest of the year and I would still make a real decent salary. I don't have to work for the next 3 months. But you can count on at least 2 of those deals falling apart. I don't care how firm they look, it's always something. I don't know why they made it this hard, but it just is what it is. So just plan 3 months in advance, especially in the beginning while you get your feet wet, because that's going to at least carry you through the dry spells and when the checks aren't rolling in. And then, most importantly, when you do have the amazing months, when you do have the fun months where it's just this is why I got into real estate. And those months, enjoy it, but be sure to always put something to the side, without a doubt. Because I have no problem, the next trip is booked, we out. We out. I had a great month. I don't care what nobody's saying, nobody can tell me nothing. But then you gotta humble yourself and just realize that the other months might not be as kosher. So it just helps you appreciate that. But just keep 3 months in advance and plan quarterly, that's all.
I'm not a realtor, but one thing that I would say, I noticed that I know that the commission checks on commercial properties are obviously much bigger than residential properties. So I always talk about have a short-term plan, a mid-term plan, and a long-term plan. For me, my short-term plan, because I think about 2008, 2009, I hit a big drought, with the real estate, nothing was selling, etc. But what happened was I have owned 8 properties. And in those 8 properties, they were underwater. I bought them high or I refinanced high and they weren't worth that. But, I was studying the law. I knew that the bailout, so it allowed me to say, you know what, that rental income, I'm going to stack it. So I was getting $8,000 a month for 5 years, because when they took the stimulus money, a lot of banks couldn't afford close. See, I'm like one of those weirdos at night. I read all of the little fine lines that nobody wants to read. And I'm like, oh, nah, they slick. They not going to get this. So I stopped paying the mortgage because I knew that eventually was going to take the property, etc. So with that money, what I was able to do was I was able to buy this bar. Like I always say about bars. People get married, they drink. Somebody die, they drink. Somebody getting married, they drink. Somebody getting a divorce, they drink. So alcohol is your recession-proof business, you know what I mean? So what I do is, I'm a person that connects the dots. So in my restaurant, like right now, we're having my real estate meetup, our real estate meetup, because this is not mine. I truly don't feel that, because it's nothing without us. With these real estate meetups, I incorporated and said, okay, well, I'm gonna do real estate and have my bar. If anybody comes here after Mondays, y'all know it's a totally different place. And so that is my short-term play, meaning to say, okay, I could probably make $20,000 a week here. I could probably live off of that. So boom, I make this money here, I take that money, I go buy real estate. Real estate is, depending on what the deal is, short term, because I don't like keeping 2.5, 3 families, because I just like the cash. I like buying it for X. Mike and I bought a property back in December. We bought the property for $89,000. The bank gave us $80,000 to put the property together. The Hayes hopefully is going to be putting that property under contract soon at about $290,000. So this somebody, just a regular guy, came to the meetup. He met another regular guy. The attorney wasn't so regular. We bypassed the attorney. We put the, even though we like each other, he put up his money. I put up the property with the deed. We went down to county. No matter if we stop liking each other or not, his money is secured. My investment is secured. We're going to sell the property. So that's what I talk about, vertical integration. It's the hard money lender that came from this meetup that gave us the deal. It was a realtor from this meetup that negotiated the short sale contract. It was an investor from the meetup that took care of the gap financing. And I, the investor that's renovating the property, and a realtor from this meetup that's selling the property. So when I talk, I know everybody's interested in a football team, they get all excited, but this team is way more important than any fantasy football team you could ever imagine. So we're talking about making a spread of over $100,000+ in an investment that we picked up from this real estate group. So don't just take this, when I said it's not just an information-based group, and say, okay, because we're going to end the meetups. We end the meetups a little earlier. It's important for you to find out what somebody is, to see if you have them in your team already, like this brother has in his database, to see where you need to plug and play with the players. You understand? I always talk about, I love Newark because I'm familiar with it. I don't get excited about, oh, there's great deals in Orange, there's great deals in Ohio, or great deals here, because it's going to take it's going to distract me, because there's enough garbage in my backyard that I can clean up to make enough money. Essex County geographical placement in Manhattan makes it valuable anyway. So you don't have to really go too far to make your money. All you got to do is understand your backyard. Okay, fine. There's a lot of killings in Newark. We can't deny that. You have to understand where you're buying. I know a lot of guys with a lot of money. That's in other parts that's not from Newark that leave here with their shirts off. They renovate these properties, they get gutted out as soon as the property is done, because people feel that they're not part of the process. So when you're renovating these properties, and realtors, I understand it's commission based. But I'm also a firm believer of not leading people into things they can't handle, because what that does is it hurts your bottom line. If I sell her a property, knowing she ain't gonna be able to afford the property, and I like buying properties within the same area. Why do I like buying properties within the same area?
She like money.
I want to control my comps. I want to compete with myself. Oh, I bought this one, this one, this one. Tell me it's not worth $400,000. They can't tell you that. So that's what happens when you buy within a half-mile radius of each other. So it's important that people that you sell the properties to, that they are going to be able to continue the property, make the money, be happy with you, and buy more properties with you. A lot of times, people want to squeeze every ounce of it out the deal. That's not cool, because anybody that knows real estate, things happen. A house is almost a living, breathing thing. Women are in houses, people are washing their hairs, they're clogging the drains. Right now, you have a lot of parts of New Jersey. Some of us got to get that flood insurance. So you never know what's going to happen. So you got to leave that person enough room for them to be able to bail themselves out. You're going to sleep better at night. And even if you're a crook, know that it's going to stop your money down the line, because it's going to show an amount of foreclosures that's popping up, and lenders are not going to lend in those areas. So always remember, leave enough room in the deal for the next person to be successful. So
I want to point out, just piggyback on what you said. You mentioned that you opened this bar and got into a bar. One thing I commend you on, just for like how you say it, is just the fact that I'm not in the restaurant business, I'm not in the bar business, I'm in the people business. And the way I see it, people are recession-proof more than the alcohol, because the alcohol ain't gonna sell itself. You know what I mean? So like, big ups for that, and I commend you for that, because one thing, especially in the restaurant business, the bars, like, what do we hear mostly? Like, it's hard, most people fail, everything like that. But Ben has built a whole entire culture that supports the entire restaurant and the bar. So, like, that's major when you're able to, like, build with the people inside, and then they take care of your bar, rather than you have to worry about marketing and trying to get this and that. And he's building the whole community. He's bringing the influences from the community coming in, and they're running the show. They're creating like all the hype and everything like that. Like that's us that is doing that. And the second thing I wanted to come in on is I first all love and first started coming to the meetups, and Ben didn't promote the meet like promotion wise. Like no, it was a post on social media and that was it. Next thing you know, the first meetup I'll never forget, packed. And actually everybody was starting right there and the chairs was right here. So sat there, and all I remember, like first starting up, I just quit my job, went into real estate full time, and mind you, I'm thinking that I'm going to be, you know, that friendly neighborhood realtor, like on the block, like, you know how like some of it is, and I realized that that wasn't me, like that wasn't like the open houses, they're great, but I wasn't about to give up my Sunday with the signs and the this and that, like, and number one, I don't even have to do that in multifamily, like, you know, if I have to, it's going up and it's sold, as long as it's priced right, marketed right, everything like that. But more importantly, the sat in the chair, and all of a sudden I hear this dude talking about buying buildings. And I'm like, I was just trying to figure out like how to sell like a $250,000 house. And I was happy with that commission check. And we over here talking about buildings. And I thought you had to have a lot of money to start buying buildings. And that's when he came out with the analogy like, nah, like if we are all lions and we gotta go take down a whole buffalo, we're gonna eat for months. Right. But if we waste our energy and we go take down, what is it, a gazelle or, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case, then we're just gonna be able to eat for a couple of days. So that's still with me. And I was like, okay, it changed my mentality a little bit, but it at least opened up the possibility. Next thing you know, the following year, I'm going to him like, yo, I got this 10-unit building, come check this out, right? Didn't work out financially, okay, no problem, whatever the case.
Don't just tell that story like that. So, my man takes me inside of the building. Listen, this is Beirut. Anybody know what Beirut is? Or just think of like, I don't know, Iraq. We go in the building, we almost fall from the 4th story through the thing. Regular human beings are like, no, we're out of here. We're like, well, let's find another way to get into it, because we're talking about 10 units. That's a rare thing. So if you really want it, you got to go after it. The brother came, said he got a 10 unit. Unfortunately, it wasn't priced right for me because I don't like that long game play, especially there's so many multi-families. That's why I didn't get it. But I definitely commend you for bringing that deal. And, you know, we dress like this, but from Tuesday through Sunday, you gotta be on that grind. Don't feel like you too big for the industry, or now, you know, you sending people out. If you not, I call it smelling the gym. You know, if you're not in there really smelling the, you know, all these abandoned wood and fire and walking over dirty clothes, wet mold and cracked vials, yo.
It was so good. That was
Those are the best properties because don't nobody want them.
It was the best property. That was the one property I, in my whole entire career, did not go into the basement. That was the only, and for whatever reason, it wasn't even like a full, like, you had to go through like a crawl space, and like,
it was wild.
And it was in summertime. I had on flip flops, and like, it was just like, it's not even.
He wasn't ready. I had garbage bags here.
Like, it's not even all yours, bro, because I'm selling it. Like, I don't care because you're going to fix it anyway. But all that to point out that, like, that mindset, like, just allowed me to even think of what it was like to even have that conversation with somebody that wanted to sell a 10-unit, right? And just to piggyback off of one more thing, just off of the community and the people that you're bringing in, like I said, of just building the database of people that I reach out to, Natalia is one of the realtors that I'll reach out to, like, hey, you got anything that's coming? Let me know. She posted something on the gram the other day about something that was coming, like, hey, listen, I need parts in that. Like, let me talk to my guy, let me see what you got. But this is all happening, that's right. I met her through Ben. And I didn't even, like, physically meet her. I just was here when he just referenced her. And it was a reference, but you know, it resonated. It was just like, yo, let me know if you have anything, but just building from everything within. So now she's on the mindset where it's just like, if I don't have anything that's coming, I'm picking up the phone. Ben will get a call from me or text me every now and again, like, yo, do you have anything that's coming? Like, let me know if you have anything that's coming. So I just try to stay, you know, ahead of the curve. And then, like you said, with investment properties, that's why me and my wife invest like on the side, because we just want that cash that's coming in. And especially because real estate is just active money. Like, that's a lot of active money. And when you're there, cool. When you're not, you got to have somebody. If you have a team that's running for it, cool, no problem. But that's why we take that active money and put it right over into the multifamily, keep that money that's coming churning out, and then just double down on the equity and then rinse and repeat.
All right, so let's just talk about how easy it is to make some money in real estate in real life time and no theory or nothing like that. You know, we don't have a computer, but let's just say, you know, I wanted to look for a shell property, 3-family, $150,000 is really what I want to pay for it. Anything more than that is a little risky. I know everybody's saying, oh, the prices are up, the prices are up. True, they are up, but the only problem is a lot of incomes aren't up. So if your buyer's incomes aren't up, just because you bought the property at a good price, it doesn't mean that you can sell it at its max price. So when you buy these properties, you got to say, okay, I'm buying in this area, but what is the median income of my particular buyers, right? So you know, or you should know, that most New Yorkers make more money than people in New Jersey. Don't feel bad about it. They got higher expenses, so it really evens out. So you want to start marketing over the bridge. The same crime, the same violence, the same quote-unquote poor school system, etc., is the same ones that they have over there. The only difference is that you get to own your home over here. So the taxes that we're complaining about, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, but you get a 3-family house, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths on each floor, that's unheard of in New York. And, you know, contrary to popular belief, crime typically, or 98% of the time, happens to the people that are involved in it. So a lot of, when you be like, man, how could you live in this area? Like, this area? I never had no trouble, because, you know, you're involved only when you get involved. And so when you're selling these properties and, you know, people bring up the crime, that's what you need to bring up too. But also, you need to bring up some of the positive light that we have over here. You know how Newark has the golf course, has one of the biggest, if not the biggest, swimming pool in the state, how it has the Prudential Stadium, how it's 15 minutes from Manhattan, how you have the airport, the seaport. You do have a lot of great jobs. And I mentioned the lead right now. Please, we talk about vending opportunities all the time. I haven't talked about it in a few weeks because it skipped me. Anybody know how much Newark got to remediate this lead? How much? 120 million. They just got an extra $50 million. So they had 170 million, or like 190, one of those. So that means a percentage of that job has to go to minorities. You're like, man, I've never changed lead. Who cares? Get the contract and sublease it out. When other cultures, for example, Italians come, because Italians, you know, they're big in pavements, they're big in a lot of, like, each nationality has their trade. That's just what it is. So they control certain things. So if they control it, that means they can give you better prices. If you as a minority is able to get that contract, you run a parallel program with the company that will be able to handle it. So don't just say, well, I don't know anything about changing lead service lines. Even if 10%, what's 10% of $170 million? How much? 17 million. $17 million. So that's $17 million that, let's just say us as this group, let's say, you know what, we'll pull up the application, we'll fill it out. This part of the group is responsible to find the companies that can handle it. This part of the group is responsible for the accounting. This part of the group is responsible for the t-shirts. This part of the group is responsible for buying all of the properties with all of the people who don't want to handle the situation, because you're going to have a lot of those situations. When people find out, that's one thing about poor people, they are the best people for lawsuits. That's what they live for. What are you talking about? I own a bar. Oh, I choked on a peanut. I'm suing. I don't even have peanuts. Oh. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you the game. And so once people find out, they can start putting in claims for lead poisoning to homeowners. Most homeowners are not sophisticated enough or don't have the money to pay to have attorneys on retainer. What's going to happen is going to be liens on these properties. People are just going to start walking away from properties. So start watching how people are going to start walking away from these properties, because it's going to cost them too much money. So back to the vending opportunity. If we know there's $170 million and a percentage of it has to be for minorities, we should go after that. You can't say, oh, no one gives us an opportunity. Everybody want to march and yell. Why everybody's marching and yelling? Put in this offer.
That's right.
10,000 people that's not doing real estate at this moment right now. You can't fight any issues being broke. That's just it. It's not about, am I a freedom fighter, this and that. Obviously, I'm doing these events for free. It costs me money, likes, this and that. I'm tired. My kids don't see me. But it's about the win. It's about the win. So I like to surround myself with winners. Now, I know that every single person in this group ain't going to want to be a winner because it sounds easy. Oh, I want to win. Man, I ain't been on a vacation in 5 years. 5 years. Not because I can't afford it, because I already know when I take a vacation, I want a vacation. I'm 37. I got enough time for vacations. I'm not telling anybody to do that or not to do that, but I'm talking about when you want to win. When I opened up this restaurant, I almost went homeless. I was sleeping upstairs on some nights. I put out $300,000 cash without my wife even knowing, behind her back. What's she gonna tell me? Didn't matter, because I knew it was gonna win. So when I make $100 grand a month, oh hey, some oatmeal. So I'm telling you, if you want to be a winner, you gotta go after it and surround yourself with winners. When I'm tired, and I'm gonna go back to Mike for a minute because Mike pushed me physically. Anybody could talk a good game, this and that. I'm in this bar at night. It stops Saturdays. It's loose in here. It's a movie. There's always rappers in here. It's crazy. It's different. I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. So Mike's like, hey, with that same voice, hey, I like what you're doing over here. Let's have a meeting. I'm like, what Mike gonna talk about? Man, I ain't heard before. But Mike was serious. I ain't gonna say what he said as far as the money, but he's like, get here. He was like, but I need you here. I think he gave me some army time, like $500, whatever he said. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be there. I'm like, what is that? How many hours is that? So I'll Google it, right? I'm like, man, that's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll leave here at 4:30. I'm not leaving it to the bartenders. I need the money. You know how you lay in your bed and you know that you gotta get up, but you do a fake cat nap? Boom, no alarm go off. Everything in my body tells me, man, Mike ain't got no money. I don't want to do it. I don't need it. You don't need it. You own enough houses. I told myself any excuse not to get up. And it wasn't just a meeting, though. He wanted to see where I was physically. Because physically, if I'm not there, he's not giving me his money. Because if physically you can't push yourself, you ain't going to push yourself to make sure I get my money.
That's right.
What'd I do, Mike? I was there, and I gave you those 2 miles. I died in the car. But this is my investor today. So I'm telling you, it's mind, body, and spirit. Mm-hmm. It's not about getting the best deals, what money that you have, because there's more money than opportunities ever right now. Yeah. But it's who's going to get to that home run plate? Who's going to keep hitting those bunts and getting those hits? And not cry about it and push about it. It's not every real estate deal that I make money, but he'll never feel it. Even if my deal goes to shit, my investors never feel it. They may get paid a little late, but they get the money with the interest. So in this business, more than a 700 credit score, this and that, because you can have one Macy's card and that's a 700 credit score. That don't make you know the game. That don't make you know the game. So understand and know the game inside out before you go ahead and submit a contract. Because real estate can hurt you. I'm going to tell you that right now. Real estate can hurt you. You can put out all of this money. Let me tell you about these hard money lenders. It's all fun and games in the beginning. 30 days, they want that 10%. And they don't foreclose on you like any other bank. They can come and take it right now. And the hard money lenders give you the money in a way for you to really fail. Because if they really cared, they would give you enough money on the draws for you to succeed and push. But they're in the business of interest payments, and if you lose the property, they have a plethora of other investors that's waiting to take that property. So you got to understand your friends and your foes and who's just in it for the money. I didn't mean to be long with it.
No, you good. I mean, like you said, like, I mean, who's like really win, like in it to win. quit my job, like jumped into it full time. I made, oh gosh, it was $15,000 my first year. That was on the tax returns. And you on a 1099 when you're in the business. So it was $15,000 like total, not like adjusted income, like no nothing. $15,000 total. Meaning, when I actually claimed on my tax returns, I wish I could have had it with me. $5,000. And $5,000 my first year.
Oh, he sounds like the president. He ain't make no money.
Listen, I ain't make no money. Wifey's about to die because she stayed with him, right? Because I had the vision, right? So it's like, all right, how we gonna make it work? Okay, come back that next year. Fired up, came back, think I had $30,000 that year. But adjusted income was then $15,000. Now I'm not there no more.
He don't want to see what he has
now I'm not there no more, right? But it was the momentum. And that's not for every realtor. That's not for every new agent. That's not for that just happened to be my story, right? So as soon as I got out, I'll never forget the first property that me and wifey bought. I found it, I pitched it to her. And I'm like, yo, I think this is an amazing deal, right? And I was broke, had no money, and I just got a $6,000 check from closing, right? And it was an amazing opportunity. So she was like, well, go buy it then. It's like, I just got this check. Like, do you not understand like how long I've been waiting on this check? And now I'm about to go toss it into something. Now it's like, I don't even know if it's gonna work. So the one thing I wanted to point out is that you don't, like Pim said, you don't have to be like the quarterback and the receiver and the running back and the tight end and the coach and the offensive coordinator and the arena and the stadium and the fans. And do what you're good at and then find people
be your own fan,
to fill the. That's no problem, absolutely. And find people to fill the void. So it was just like, all right, I got a partner now. Cool. Now I got somebody that can go in the mortgage, but we're gonna split it together. Cool, no problem. As soon as the check came in, went right back out. Boom, no problem. Here's the other sacrifice. They say great deals are not found, great deals are made, right? So we took a regular 2-family, converted it into a 3. We stayed in the basement, right? So he brought me in the basement for a whole entire year. We rented out the whole.
Shout out to Shorty. Shout out to Shorty. In the basement, 6,000. You were the real MVP.
Yeah, so
I just do what he tells me to do.
Right? But you have to find your partner. Mine just happened to be my wife. Like, who's going to be your partner? Who's going to be the money? Who's going to be... Whatever the case, all I'm just saying is find a partner. Because most people try to do it on their own, and then they realize, like, why they're struggling, like, when it's taking so long. So we right down in the basement, like, just cold in the basement, had a space heater, like, we trying to stay warm, watching Netflix and all that other stuff. Like, hard, right? We not there no more. Right? Like, that was then. This is now. Right? We own a couple properties in North. The most that both of us had contributed to any mortgage was $400. I was pissed. Pissed. And that's split, meaning $200 a person. Pissed. I didn't want to spend nothing. Right? But it just shows you, like, stay down in the beginning, and now here's our foundation. And people are like, yo, and I tell people, like, yo, you better come to North. No, I don't want to invest in like that. Like, we came up $175,000 in 2 years.
That's right.
18 months, to be honest with you. What are you talking about? They want to invest, like, what do you mean you don't want to invest in North? Where you going? Where you going? East Orange is cool too. No problem at that. You know what I mean?
But like the stepchild, I don't know.
That's it, yeah.
They know this is coming up though. I can't front.
And so is Irvington. I don't know what Irvington been on lately, but Irvington been on
Y'all
shit.
can have Irvington.
Yeah.
Tony Voss, I love you. I'll be at the
I don't. I'm not buying the Irvington. Irvington is not my I'm not like salivating over anything that's Irvington. But all I do realize is that these Moses fans been going off the chain recently, and this is in Irvington. So what do you think is happening there in North? And somebody had asked me, like, yo, do you think the land prices is going to, like, stop things? I was like, matter of fact, yes, it is. So you stay over there, and I can stay here and continue to play. But, I mean, like, just this sacrifice, like, what are you willing to sacrifice? My sacrifice might not be the same. Same way, like, your trials and tribulations are not the same. But what are you going to sacrifice? Or what are you okay with sacrificing? Like, it doesn't have to be, like, I'm going to stop everything, I'm going to go live in my car to go try to be frugal and everything. Like, nah, not at all. What are you comfortable with being uncomfortable with? And then go after that. Most people try to just be completely uncomfortable, and then it's not fun at all. Nah, just what are you comfortable with being uncomfortable with, and then go do that. Like, and it'll change. So, yeah, like it's what are you willing to do?
Really, I'm always telling everybody, learn the business. Don't just come to the couple of these meetups, learn the business. Like, it don't matter. Let's just say, God forbid, I lost everything today. The next 30 days, I can make $100 grand because I understand the business. If I go to anybody and say, listen, give me $50,000, don't give me $50,000, invest $50,000 in this brick and mortar that you can see every day. Second lien position, because $50,000 not going to buy you a house. I mean, I'm talking about in Essex County. That $50,000, that's your gap financing. That gap financing, you go out, hard money lenders, they don't really care about credit if you have the experience. So yes, sacrificing this and that, but the number one thing you gotta learn is the business, because once you learn the business, anybody gonna rock out with you. Right now, I can give probably $1 million in a week just because I know the business. They're not gonna give me the money personally, they're gonna give it based on the deals that I bring. So once you understand deals and know how to put it together, people with money, they don't want to do nothing but just give out the money. They did their part. They want to give out their money. They just want to make sure you're going to get the money back in the time frame that you are, or if it's for, or if there's a reason that you can't, it better be a damn good reason dealing with the property. So if you don't take anything else away from this meetup, learn the business. I missed the point before. I'm buying a shelf for $150,000. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my contractor tell me exactly what I need to do with the foundation. Because your foundation is what holds up the house. Everything else, you can just put it back together. The framing, because everything is built off the human body. The framing is your bones. Your insulation is your muscles. Your circulatory system is the electrical. Your digestive system is the plumbing. Your head, you gotta protect your head, is your roof. So you got to do your roof and your feet first, your foundation. That's what they teach you in the Army. Protect your head and always keep your feet dry, right? Yeah. Exactly. It's the same thing with these houses. Then you got your skin. You make it look pretty. That's your sheetrocking. You got your furniture, which is your teeth. Like I said, I always build. When I talk to my kids, I do that.
Is the paint like the makeup? Because like
the paint is the makeup, the little eyelashes, the shingles, all of that. You know the girl houses, etc. So I like to break it down like that. When you explain in real estate to your children, I don't care what business you in, please pass down real estate to your children. Because real estate, I understand life insurance policies, this and that. I'm not into that investment sector, so I'm not going to kick its back in or anything. But what I will tell you, if you buy an investment property under your kid's name now, I don't care if they're 4 years old, if they have a social security number in this country, they can buy anything. And so what you do is you buy that property underneath their name. That is their college future. So every year that property is gaining it. Plus you're taking it to them, meeting the tenants, etc. So they have that mindset. So we bought the property for $150,000. We put about $120,000 in renovating the property. That same property we're selling them at $420,000, $430,000. I like to sell them for $400,000 so they can have the $30,000. So it's a quick sale. So that's what I'm talking about, how you can make a quick $100,000, even if you did one in addition to your job. But in order to reach that, how you have to do it, the first thing you want to do is you want to get your accountant. Your accountant is going to truly let you know what type of financial shape that you're in. Because if you're causing yourself a whole bunch of stress, a whole bunch of anxiety, like Keisha always says, you know, the energy that you put towards something is really going to manifest into what that's going to be. So you can't be so stressed out where you're not even seeing, you know, the loopholes that you could be doing in the real estate in order for it to be successful. So you got your accountant. After you have your accountant, you need your project manager. Your project manager allows you to work on your business as opposed to working in your business. If I'm inside of the properties all day, this and that, I'm not talking to Austin to find out what other deals are down the pipeline. I'm not talking to Nate to find out, well, where are we with the realtor? I'm not talking to my architect that's able to help me sell the properties just off the renditions online before I've even done anything with the property. So you're exiting the hard money lender and transitioning into a 203K, which means the mortgage responsibility falls off of you. So that's what I'm talking about, the knowledge in the business. If If you got a 203K buyer that's only paying 4%, 5% interest rate at an FHA loan, then why would you want to pay these people 10% or more? You're going to utilize these people, not use, but utilize them because there's no prepayment penalty on a hard money lender in order to get the property. So once you own the property, now you can shop the property with realtors like these two. You understand? So you're selling the property before and insuring your money before you've even done any work to it. So there's millions of ways to skin a cat. So I said the education aspect of real estate, because real estate is not cookie cutter. You got to roll with the punches to know what you're up against. So once you have the knowledge of it, then you know what to do. So we started with the accountant, then we had the what? The project manager. The project manager is gonna make sure the Home Depot bills, this and that. They're gonna be arguing with Home Depot at the pro desk to say, hey, listen, already in the last 6 months, we spent over $400,000. This is the EIN that we purchases under, because Home Depot has a cashback that they give you if you buy from the pro desk. So don't go to the regular line if you're flipping properties. Go to the pro desk department because they put you in something called the bid room. Everybody know my man Terry that comes here. He's like, man, I'm spending so much money in Home Depot. Now, mind you, this is somebody that's been doing real estate for 25 years. And he's never known about the pro desk, which is in Home Depot. Anybody got success with the pro desk? Yes. Word. Your bill might be $2,000. They put you in a bid room and knocks it down to $1,200. Now, the problem with the pro desk is that line. But we talking about $800. That ain't my problem. That's my project manager's problem. He got to get on that line to make sure we get the best number, because that's how he gets money. So we have our, you got your accountant. Then you got your, all right, the next person that you need your contractor. You got your GC. You're really the one controlling your project, but you got the GC with the license to pull your permits, etc. But you're the one overlooking the other trades that they're hiring. Never give one contractor the entire job, because if they have the entire job, they have you by the balls or the ovaries. Right? I can't leave you out. Even though balls are ovaries that just fell. You know? Most people don't know that. You get a little science in here too. Yeah. So now you got your contractor. Remember I said make sure you outsource from the electrical, the plumbing, your framing, because you get to work out better numbers. If the one guy has the entire job, then he's going to just say, regardless, he's going to utilize you anyway, and so you're going to kind of get caught up in that melee if something happens. But if you know you can fire the electrician, bring the next one, then you have a better opportunity to save that number, right? And plus, if they know that they only have one trade, they're going to give you the best number so you can keep calling them. So it almost works almost like like the conveyor belts, like the lines, like you know, when you're in a factory, things kind of go, an assembly line. So after you have your contractor, your realtor is always in play though, because your realtor, wherever you want to plug in your realtor is either going to find you the property, or your realtor is going to be selling you the property while it's going on. The next friend that you want to have is you want to have your architect, but you want to have an architect that has success in that particular community. Because if that architect is not familiar with the zoning board, because it's all about who you know, it doesn't matter if it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it shouldn't be looked at like that. That's just the problem. Are you going to try to fight that cause, or are you going to try to get the job done? So you go to City Hall, you go to the zoning department, you make friends with everybody, and you say, hey, how you doing, such and such? Can I have a list of all of the architects that submitted plans? Oh, sure. Go to room B12. So now I like to utilize people that has already had success in the city, so when the names come across the desk, there's no finding out who you're dealing with, because you know it's just that type of industry. The architect is going to be able to cut your property up for you in ways that you would never imagine. You know, your eyes, you say, oh, you know, if I lived here, it's not about you. This is a property for you to sell. So your architect is going to say, move this wall, put the HVAC here, build a couple storage units here. Since your closets are too small, charge for the storage facilities in your basement, because you're paying for the whole house. So I don't believe only utilizing 90% of your house. Redo your basements. Even if your basements are not habitable, make them into storage facilities, because in apartments there's never enough room anyway.
It's gonna be on your back steps.
Exactly. I don't want to be long-winded. I got 3 more joints to go through, right? So you got your realtors, and then you gotta have your government relations person. Your government relations person is the person that's going to be able to help you push everything through correctly. They ain't going to help you do anything wrong, but what they're going to do is allow you to cut through the red tape. The red tape is what allows you to do a job in 90 days or 18 months. I'm telling you right now. Find out whatever property that you buy, find out who the council person is, and you do the ribbon cutting with that council person, because they need to know more abandoned properties are being erected in their communities, which is raising the tax value in their particular district, which is going to look better for their numbers. So politicians love any photo opportunity. So also keep that in your mind. And the final thing is, this name is illegal in New Jersey, but in New York it's accepted. It's called an expediter. Over here in New Jersey, it's called your government relations person. So they could be 2 different types of people, or they could be the same. You can have your expediter and your government relations person. I like both, just in case you kind of get stuck somewhere. And that's all you need to be successful in the real estate business. Once you have that game plan, it's like Belichick. It doesn't matter what wide receiver comes in, this and that. They have a system that they go to. You have to create your system in that real estate business. Anything else you want to add to it before we open the floor for questions?
No. You pretty much hit it on the head with that. I mean, especially like in North and East Orange, there's been times where, especially when I first started, where getting information, like you said, submitting the architectural plans, and then waiting forever to hear back. And I remember at one point, like calling down to the city just wasn't helping, and writing emails definitely isn't helping. And I'll never forget, one time I literally had to go down to City Hall. I went down there with donuts. Hey. I got all my answers that day. Like they was like suggesting whether they should even take it. He was like, I don't know if we should take it. I was like, it ain't money. Like, just take the donuts. Like, what are you doing? So they took the donuts. They said, I was all up in the engineering room. Like, oh yeah, you got that one? Like, yo, make sure you you good? All right, we good. All right.
Krispy Kreme?
It's Project Pass. You know what I'm saying? I put 2 jelly in there, so I know you want some in there. So it was love. So they wound up passing papers through. Like, true story. Wound up passing papers through. I got my answers, came back. It's nothing like having the final permits, the final plans approved. It's nothing like it's like hot off the press. You're happy because then your project can move forward. I basically, at one point, it's supposed to take 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Wound up taking 6 months. Like, and it happens. Like, it gets lost in translation. Submitting new permits, it's got to go up to zoning, then through zoning, it's got to come back down to planning, and then it's got to come back to this, and now it's going so there's a lot of steps in between the process, which is why, yes, when you have your advocates that can move things along, I'm telling you, because there's so much development that's going in North, because there's so much development that's going in East Orange and all the neighborhoods, they can't handle it. They're understaffed. They're understaffed. There's a great chance that they're underpaid. I'm pretty sure, at least not everybody, unless they're like, engineers where they probably went to a trade school, went to college, or whatever the case, this might not be everybody's first job, you know what I mean? So you got to factor all of that in. Mind you, they're getting bombarded with calls on a daily basis. Hey, where's my project? Where's my this? Where's my permits? Where da. So by the time that you call, it's nothing against you, but they're not even trying to hear that. They got their own problems that they got to worry about. So yes, having that advocate will definitely move your project along. It helps out tremendously. So absolutely.
And when we closing out, I took him to a property, 83 North 17th Street. When I did the walkthrough with you to show you what you would be facing in the future. I do this thing called earn while you learn, because a lot of people, with all of this information, they don't have time to necessarily learn it and be successful with it. If not me, partner with somebody that has already gone through that trials and tribulations until you get the air under your own wings to be able to take flight. So I took him inside of an abandoned house, and then I took him to the process of how this whole thing would happen. So he probably drive past that property right now, property's bought, fixed, and sold. So you got to be there with somebody that has already done it. You know, before we open up the floors for questions, understand that October is next month. It's the beginning of the first quarter, but most importantly, realize that you live on the East Coast. It's not going to be 90 degrees all the way throughout. So definitely put in your real estate renovation plans that you're going to have some cold months. So what if you don't have electricity in or gas in a property now, the amount of money that I spend on propane on a daily